This is from his reintroductory press conference to the Clippers.
Okay.
Quote, I'm just so excited about the moves that the team has made this offseason. Brad coming to the team, Bradley Beal, Brooke Lopez, all the young guys. I talked to James Harden, I talked to Kawhi Leonard, and I'm even more excited about what I think we have a chance to do. End quote. Basketball or feelings for
This
Chris
is
Paul?
pure feelings. This is pure feelings. This is like I'm surprised he didn't say Lob City like two, or like I'm like reinitiating as the mayor of Lob City. I think the thing with this, as much as I do really love it, I love it for Chris Paul. I feel like I was such a late fan of Chris Paul in his career. I think I stubbornly held out as stubbornly as Chris Paul does anything, so maybe kind of fitting, but watching him a little bit adrift in the last couple seasons has been a bummer. So I like this. And a part of me really kind of wants him to step back into the shoes of what he did for that team. Just like this menacing, bossy, someone needs to run this show and damn it, it's going to be me kind of figure. Because if you look at the Clippers, there really isn't a clear person like that. It's not Kawhi. I think maybe James Harden sometimes thinks it's him. It's not. It's never James Harden, right? Like it should and could be Chris Paul. So I think to whatever end the basketball of this fits in, which is like I don't know how much he's going to play, really like meaningful minutes. There still feels like a very real important part for him on a team like this. And to be like, let's be honest too, like the Clippers don't have an identity and haven't really had one for seasons and seasons now, as much money as they want to throw behind this like face recognition dome that they play in and like we're the team of the future. It's like no one really knows who you are yet. You tried to rip off the DNA of the Raptors, that didn't work, and you've kind of been adrift ever since. So if he can bring them back to that, I think that last point where they did have a very clear identity of the way they wanted to play, who they were, what their strong suits were. Even if it doesn't follow perfectly in form, I think it can work and function.
So there's a brief basketball part of this. I talked about it in my last episode, so I don't want to do too much of it here. But I do like the idea of Chris Paul being on this team because the offense last year for the Clippers was a lot of James Harden pick and roll or Kawhi Leonard post ups. And it felt like every half court possession started with one of those two things. And it was fine. It worked. They had a pretty decent half court offense. It was okay. I like that Ty Lue can now go to something else on the menu. It's like, okay, I have these two things. And now I also have Chris Paul, who is just always running pick and roll and doing things. And when Harden is off the court, Paul can do those things. And that's helpful from a basketball perspective. From a feelings part of this, when he says something like, I'm really excited about what we can do, my mind immediately goes to, can the Clippers win the championship? Because
Wow.
it would be, and for the record, I don't think that they can. I just wrote for RealGM that I will never, I have two rules in the NBA. It's don't watch the Hornets after February and never trust the Clippers. And I like this team. I will not allow myself to trust this team. And I will never trust that the Clippers can win the championship. If it's game 7, they're up 20, and there's a minute left in the NBA Finals, I still won't believe that they've won the championship until they're actually holding the Larry O'Brien trophy. That said, when he says something like that, I'm like, well, what if they do win the championship? Would this not be the most, like, what's the word I'm looking for? Like the most rewarding championship of all time? It would just be the most, like the most excellent exhale ever in NBA history because it's Chris Paul, who has never won a ring, for the organization that he kind of became famous with. I know it wasn't his first team, but like he became Chris Paul with the Clippers for an organization that also has never won a championship. And he would be doing it in what sounds like could be his last season, like the ultimate swan song. Who knows, right? Like if all these things work and Kawhi is just magically healthy, and Kawhi did finish the playoffs last year healthy for the first time in a very long time, which is a good sign. Let's say that the Clippers do make that run and they are in the NBA Finals and Chris Paul is a part of this team. It would be maybe the closest thing to Dirk winning in 2011, but almost even more just because it's been the thing that's dodged both the organization and the player for so long, and to be doing it in what is probably his final season would be like the craziest basketball story I could think of.
Yeah, see, I I was also like, yeah, I never talked myself into the Clippers, but then I realized I did when they had Russell Westbrook. It didn't take much for me. So you,
That would be
you,
a fun exercise to do with people who watch the league and
yeah,
cover the league. Just like, when did you most feel betrayed by the Clippers? At
it's
what
true.
point did you talk yourself most into it? And then at what point did you feel most betrayed?
It was that season for me.
We could do the
But
same
you,
exercise for the 76ers, by the way. Like
oh no, I've never, I can, I'm trying to think of when I stopped talking.
mm,
I can't. There's like they're like a walking tragedy. They're a walking
yeah.
Greek tragedy team to me, which I love writing about, but I don't believe in them. However, you have fully convinced me that this is what we're due. If anything, it's also like to go back to what I said earlier about Durant. I feel like it would be um, also desperately needed for that class of guys, right?
Yeah.
Because you've got a few of them on that Clippers team.
It's
So it buys
kind of the whole
Durant a couple
thing.
more years too, in
Yep.
a way.